Dreaming is our unconscious desires in life, our fantasies, our cherished aspirations, ambitions, or ideals. We will have this feeling of contentment once our dreams will be fulfilled. So in this topic, we will tackle about do not just dream, make it happen. So first, we will talk about Jack Canfield. Canfield was an epitome of success. He was born on August 19, 1944 at Fort Worth, Texas, United States. He graduated psychology in Harvard University and Doctor of Philosophy in Santa Monica University. He authored 7 books that was listed in Guinness Book World of Records. One of his books is Chicken Soup for the Soul, which is an inspirational true stories about ordinary people lives. He featured a quote about success: "By taking the time to stop and appreciate who you are and what you have achieved, and perhaps earned through a few mistakes, stumbles, and losses, you actually can change everything about you. Self-acknowledgement and appreciation are what give you the insights and awareness to move forward toward higher goals and accomplishments." To make it short, we should learn from our mistakes and try to improve from it. So, second theorist is Albert Bandura. Bandura was born in Mundare, Alberta, Canada on December 4, 1925. He earned his master's degree at University of Iowa in 1961 and Doctor of Philosophy of Clinical Psychology in 1952. He is the author of the article Self-Efficacy Toward a Unifying Theory of Behavioral Change, which becomes instant classic in psychology. He is named as the most influential psychologist of all time. His theories give major contribution to the field of psychology, psychotherapy, and education. So this is the Bob-Woodall experiment of Albert Bandura, which demonstrated that children are able to learn social behavior, such as aggression, through the process of observational learning, through watching the behavior of another person. So in this experiment, they gathered the children in one room and they let them watch as the person from other room beat the doll, thump the doll, and pound the doll. And then after that, they leave the children in the same room with the doll to study if the children will imitate the adult behavior. And yes, they also beat the doll as what they have seen from the adult's behavior. So we will learn from this that we should not show our children the behavior that we don't want them to have. In this experiment has proven right that the hypothesis of social modeling is very effective way of learning. Social learning theory focuses on what people learn from observing and interacting with other people. This is the theory that formulated after the Bubudal experiment. The finding of the social learning theory also supports the social cognitive theory. Social cognitive theory states that people are active participants in their environment and that are not simply shaped by that environment. So meaning behavior may change or may vary in every environment we are experiencing. It doesn't mean that it will stop in the first environment. Self-efficacy theory. Self-efficacy theory is based on the assumption that psychological procedures serve as a means of creating and strengthening expectations of personal efficacy. For example, people having a strong sense of self-efficacy can help them with their goals like trying to quit smoking or losing weight or to quit alcoholic drinking. So without strong feeling of self-efficacy, nothing will be achieved and they will continue with their vices. Self-efficacy theory distinguishes between expectation of efficacy and response outcome expectancies. Efficacy expectancy is the degree of conviction that that one is successfully execute the behavior required to produce an outcome. In other words, we expect only one result from this, while the response outcome expectancy is our anticipated consequences. It's either positive or the negative. So self-efficacy theory comes into play when actual or perceived threat to one's personal safety or one's ability to deal with potentially aversive events. Mm, like increasing the person's self-efficacy increases their ability to deal with a potentially adverse situation, and this is supported by the experiment with the adults having ophidophobia or the extreme fear of snakes. Dr. Bandora defines self-efficacy as people's beliefs about their capabilities to produce designated levels of performance that exercise influence over events that affect their lives. So our capabilities to do something depends on our self-efficacy or level of beliefs in ourselves. Example in this video report. If we will not believe in ourselves that this report will succeed, then we can't deliver it correctly, right? So, acts of people with high assurance in their capabilities according to Bandora. First is approach difficult tasks as challenges to be mastered. Means that instead of feeling down on that certain difficult task, we should make it as an inspiration that we will finish or achieve it no matter how difficult it is. Next is the set challenging goals and maintain strong commitment to them. So we should acknowledge first our goal and put our mind to achieve that goal. Third, heighten or sustain efforts in the face of failures or setbacks. We should brace ourselves in case of failures that it happened that way and that's okay to fail sometimes. Attribute failure to insufficient effort or deficient knowledge and skills which are acquirable. So we will assess the areas why we fail and use that as stepping stone to improve that area. Lastly is approach threatening situation with assurance that they can exercise control over them. We will make list of instances of failures and make a solution in case that will really happen. So that is the acts of people with high assurance in their capabilities. Next is the acts of people who doubt their capabilities. These are the people that have low self-efficacy. So first, shy away from tasks they view as personal threat. So they already back down thinking that they can't do it without trying, something like that. So number two, have low aspiration and weak commitment to goals they choose to pursue. They don't have the enough courage to continue their goals once they detect failure. They felt discouraged. Third, dwell on personal deficiencies, obstacles they will encounter and all kinds of adverse outcomes rather than concentrating on how to perform successfully. So they will blame themselves why they failed instead of concentrating in their task. Fourth, slacken their efforts and give up quickly in the face of difficulties. So in number four, they fail weak once there is difficulty. Mm. Five is to slow to recover their sense of efficacy following the failure. They don't back up their self-efficacy after experiencing the failure. So number six is fall easily victim to stress and depression. So after failing their task, they will stress out and continue to depression. That's why some people decided to suicide or something to harm themselves because they have weak self-efficacy. So there are four sources of influence by which a person's self-efficacy is developed and maintained. First is performance, accomplishment, or mastery experiences. So first, psychological state through which a learner organizes his or her own set of beliefs regarding ability from different sources. Next is the vicarious experiences. This is the phenomenon of observing another feeling what they feel. So, ko, i, they should uh, they should acknowledge their feelings. Third is verbal or social persuasion. This affects one's self-efficacy through strengthening and backing up one's beliefs that they have what it takes to succeed, and it also provides temporary boost of confidence. So if someone is saying it's okay, that's fine, so they give you that verbal or social persuasion. Number four, physiological states are somatic and emotional. People rely on their somatic or emotional states when judging their capabilities. So it depends on what emotion they feel or what the what environment they are in currently. And then Dr. Bandora quotes about self-efficacy by Kindra in 2017. Self-efficacy is the belief in one's capabilities to organize and execute the sources of action required to manage prospective situations. If efficacy beliefs always reflected only what people can do routinely, they will rarely fail, but they would not set aspirations beyond their immediate reach, nor mount the extra effort needed to surpass their ordinary performances. Self-belief does not necessarily ensure success, but self-disbelief assures postpones failure. By sticking it out through tough times, people emerge from adversity with stronger sense of efficacy. And people's beliefs about their abilities have a profound effect on those abilities. Ability is not a fixed property. There is a huge variability in how you perform. People who have a sense of self-efficacy bounce back from failure. They approach things in terms of how to handle them rather than worrying what can go wrong.
So I'm Gio Orglado, your second reporter about this topic. Do not just dream, make it happen. So now we'll proceed to Carol Dweck. Carol Dweck, she was born on October 17, 1946, earned PhD from Yale University in 1972. Author of Mindset, The New Psychologist of Success, published in 2006. She is one of the leading researchers in field of motivation, where her research focused on why people succeed and how to foster success. She has received 11 awards in different awarding categories. So we will proceed now and fixed and growth mindset. So fixed mindset, people who believe that success is based on their innate abilities have a fixed theory of intelligence. Individuals who dread failure, negative statements of their basic abilities, believe that their basic abilities, their intelligence, their talents are just fixed traits, can be affected by subtle environmental causes. So when we say fixed mindset, kaya diri ni sila nagbase silang innate abilities, which is ang ilang kiniya. For example, kung unsa ilang nakuha nga gamay, okay na to sila, dili na sila ganan nga ma-improve pa. For example, no, I can't learn now, it's too late. I'm too shy to speak in front of class. So now we'll proceed and growth mindset. So growth mindset, people who believe that success is based on hard work, learning, training, and perseverance have good theory of intelligence. Do not mind or fear failure. New learning and will make the performance to be improved. Allows person to live a less stressful and more successful life. Understand that talents and abilities can be developed through effort and good teaching and persistence. More likely to continue work hard despite setbacks. So when we say growth mindset, kaya dili na sila nagbase sa ilang hard work, learning, training, and perseverance ilang kakugino. Dili sila mag-mind or mapildi kay dapat pa man nila nga ma-improve. For example, it's never too late to learn. I can always improve at something if I try.
And for the third and the last one, who is Edwin A. Locke, we're going to tackle about his biography. Edwin A. Locke, born on January 5, 1938, he also received his BA from Harvard in 1960 and his PhD in industrial psychology from Cornell University in 1964. He is also internationally known for his research on goal setting. Author and editor of 12 books about motivation and goal setting. Received 5 beautiful awards. And now we're going to talk about his goal setting theory. Goal setting theory, its an approach is based on what Aristotle called final causality. That is, the action caused by a purpose. Without a purpose, you cannot create an action. Wala kay mabuhat na action if you don't have any purpose. It is a specific tendency toward a goal. Accepts axiomatic status of consciousness and volition assumes introspective reports that formulate psychological concepts and measure psychological phenomena. Goal-setting theory also involves setting specific and measurable goals to improve productivity. And an example of this is a clear goal is telling your students you want perfect exams in their midterm. And by that, you can see na productivity, na productive, nga na kay imong desired goal kay tungod kay you're setting specific and measurable goals man to improve their productivity. Okay, for next one. Research findings under the article Motivation Through Conscious Goal Setting. Number 1, the more difficult the goal, the greater the achievement. Indeed, the more difficult the goal, the greater the achievement. O sa kalisod ang imong goal, dako sad ang exchange. The bigger risk, greater exchange. Big exchange. That 2, the more specific or explicit the goal, the more precisely performance is regulated. Unsa ka specific or explicit ang imong goal, maapektuhan ang imong performance. It can lead to your performance can ma-regulate gyud siya pamaayo. Number 3, goals that are both specific and difficult lead to the highest performance. Indeed, it is a combination of the two, number 1 and 2. Yeah, kung i-combine nimo ang duha, it can lead you to the best performance or your highest performance. Number 4, commitment to goals is most critical when goals are specific and difficult. Commitment, it is when you're committed to your goals. Kung saan na siya critical when goals are specific and difficult. If kung committed ka, of course, you will you can see an outcome nga desirable sa imong goal. Number 5, commitment to goals is attained when the individual is convinced that goal is important. Of course, answer number 5. High commitment to goals is attained. Kung kay bawo ka sa mong kagalingon nga kanang goal is important. Number B, the individual is convinced that the goal is attainable. Kung sa siya ka-importante, quite sufficient to simply ask for compliance after providing a plausible rationale for study, legitimate authority of a supervisor or leader, continued commitment, leadership techniques. We have attainable if you have good leadership techniques. Providing and communicating an inspiring vision, yes. If you're good at providing and communicating a vision, of course, you can expect nga ang unsa bay imuhang constituents baron, you can be inspired through your vision. Number 2, acting as a role model for the employees. Of course, being a leader is a great leader daw kuno is a great role model for the employees. Siya. Number 3, expecting outstanding performance. Of course, being a leader, you're expecting yun sa imuha, di ba? Sa pag-delegate sa imong mga tasks, mga tao nimo. You're expecting outstanding because you're the leader. You're providing them inspiring vision because that. Number 4, promoting employees who embrace the vision and dismissing those who rejected it. Yes, you're going to promote employees nga mo embrace ni sunod in line sa imuhang vision. Di ba? Mo hatag ka og like, you did a good job, so I'm going to promote you. So, katong ni-reject, wala ni in line ang ilang gusto sa imong vision, of course, you're going to dismiss them. Okay, you're giving a inspiring vision, but those people manggid wala ni kwan, so going to dismiss. It can affect man sa the majority of that group or your ang imuhang nasasakupan. Number 5, delegating responsibility. Ownership for key tasks. Of course, you know how to delegate responsibility for key tasks. You know, for example, ikaw, maayo ka ani, you know how you are responsible for doing this. So, ihatag nako ni siya para sa imo kahibaw kung kaya nimo, mga key tasks. So, goal setting itself can be delegated for capable and responsible employees indeed. Kung goal setting itself can be delegated for mga capable o mga responsible nga employees, kibaw ka nga you are confident sa ilahang capability and being a responsible employee. Okay, for number 7, expressing genuine confidence in employees' capabilities. If you are genuine, you're going to express your confidence in them. You can uplift their spirit. You can by giving them by giving confidence, makakuan ka sa ilahang pwede nila ma-uplift nimo ilang confidence. It can boost their confidence by expressing genuine, di ba? Number 8, enhancing capabilities through training. Of course, you can enhance your capabilities by giving them training. If you wanted nga mas nindot ang outcome, you can enhance their capabilities, not as your capabilities, but also their capabilities through training. Asking for commitment in public. Of course, you know, if you wanted to may ka silang commitment through public, diba? 6, having a direct effect on performance. Self-efficacy influences the difficulty level of the goals, the commitment to goals. Of course, if you wanted a direct effect in performance, makatabang yun ni siya, maka-influence ang difficulty level of the goal, commitment to goals, response to failure, choice of task strategies. Number 7, goal setting is most effective when there is feedback and that shows in relation to the goal. Of course, effective if it's feedbacking, di ba? If you have feedback, if you give a feedback in someone's work man yun, it can shows progress. Muna iyang feedback. So, kailangan din ako i-change. So, it shows na ay progress sa ilang relation to their goal. Goal setting. Diba? Feedbacking. Goal setting, along with the self-efficacy by na-explain yun ni Ma'am Prima, mediates the effect of knowledge of past performance and subsequent performance. Like your sa to yung na-acquire ni mo pag-past, performance, na-acquire ni mo na knowledge, you can apply it into your future performances or can be on subsequent performances. Number 9, goals affect performance by affecting the direction of action, the degree of effort exerted, and the persistence of action over time. Goals maka-affect daw sa performance kay ang direction of action sa imong timeline, di ba? Imong action. Masama yung imong action plan. The degree of effort exerted, yes, of course, ang imong effort na i-exert anang goal, the persistence of action over time, imong pagka-persistent sa imong action over the time. Number 10, if ako din siya persistence of action over time. It is like you're being persistent sa imong mga action kunta sa time. You're more on focus sa imong action sa time. Diba? Wa kayo ni mind sa time. You're sa imong actions. 10, goals stimulate planning in general. Yes. How can you attain that? How can you plan that goal if you don't know the planning in general, di ba? So, it can goals stimulate planning in general. 11, when people strive, imong gipang. Okay, when people strive for goals on complex tasks, they are at least effective in discovering suitable task strategies. If no prior experience, you have no background sa imong about that goal, have pressure to perform well, of course, if kung pressured ka nga kailangan perform kong maayo, ang effectivity sa imong performance, you can at least expect nga least gid siya kaysa sa imong gi-expect. High time pressure and first time. Diba? Kung time mangud grabe ka pressure sa time, it can affect whole kuan mangid dinalian naman gyud nimo. Itungod nag-apas ka sa usa ka time, diba? Sa deadline. Number 12, goals including goal commitment in combination with self-efficacy mediate or partially mediate the effects of several personality traits and incentives on performance. Contribution partially mediate the effects of several maka affect siya sa imong personality traits kaya ang imong goals mangyud, di ba? For goal setting and goal related mechanisms can be trained and or adapted in the absence of training for the purpose of self-regulation. 14. Goals serve as standards of self-satisfaction. If kan nakuha na gyud na nimo ang goals, it can it can serve as highest self-satisfaction through ang makuha na ma-attain na nimo na goal. Ma-feel na ang pinaka-highest nga imong ma-feel nga self-satisfaction with standards na